वीडियो चल रहा है।
Okay.
Hi, I'm back. Hi. Okay. I'm going to share my screen now. Let me know if you can hear me. Perfect. Hi, everyone. It's been a minute. I've been away almost a month. That's because I was preparing for something for you guys. Cues. No, I'll tell you some. Okay, today I am going to continue with my last video. It was about how you should add spice and fiber and stuff like that to your diet, and apart from what you would normally do to excess weight. Correct? Some more points to that. I'm going to give you 5 more. Add to your knowledge. Here, a little bit about me. My name is Falak. I am a nutritionist and I work full time at Derma Design and Diet Design. I do everything skin and hair related. We from laser procedures to MNRF to chemical peels. It's going to make you look pretty on the outside. And then there's diet design, where we do everything to make you look pretty from the inside. We give you diets, we give you weight loss sessions, and stuff like that. To get it with me or my team, you can look me up on our website, dietdesign.com, or you can DM me on my number. You can give me a call, and here we are going to cover today. I am going to give an introduction of what is basics and beyond, and I will also get into 5 more points apart from everything that I mentioned last time. And then, if you have any questions, I will answer that and we'll call it a day. Okay, what basics and beyond? Like basics, you obviously know is like the principles, the fundamentals of losing weight. But what is uncommon or innovative methods more than just traditional approaches to achieve a goal? This is a terminology that I have come up with, you guys. So in this session, I am going to talk about uncommon or innovative methods to lose weight, and I'm going to call them beyonds. Okay. And apart from this, in my weight loss series, I will also talk about weight loss with pre existing conditions and artificial weight loss. Artificial weight loss meaning through surgeries or invasive procedures. Before meal routine, what I want you to do is create a before meal routine. Before you have your lunch, before you have your dinner, before you have any major meal, I want you to do something. Actually, first is hydrate. 10 to 50 5 to 10 minutes before you have your lunch, 5 to 10 minutes before you have your dinner, I want you to have a full glass of water. Hydrate. Or if not water, you can have herbal tea, you can have tea. Okay. You can have apple cider vinegar with warm water. Now, the reason why I say this is water is metabolism, that is using up energy that you consume and stored up energy to produce ATP. ATP is your energy molecules that your body needs to function. Okay. So, water, it helps with your metabolism, that is the food that you're going to eat after the 5 to 10 minute gap, it water helps you use that energy. Number one. Second, um, it aids digestion. How does it aid digestion? Let me give you, think of a piece of a watermelon, okay? This much, a piece, okay? Imagine what would happen if you place a tissue paper on top of it. Tissue paper, it is going to absorb some amount of the watermelon's water content, correct? But it's still going to leave most of it behind because it is the full fruit. Now think of it like this: you have watermelon juice, and then you place a tissue paper on top of that juice. It is going to absorb all of it, right? I mean, unless the capacity runs out and you need more tissue paper. But what I'm trying to get to is, when you consume a food item and it is mixed with water, your body can digest and absorb it more. Your body is like the tissue paper, it absorbs it all. Okay? So it aids with your digestion and your absorption. And also, water with your food, before your food. I'm talking about the water that you consume before you eat your meals. It helps with movement of this food. Now, there's no rocket science there. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, and last and the most important thing, when you have water before your meal, when you hydrate, it fills you up. It prevents you from consuming extra calories. It makes sure that you're only eating what you're supposed to and not overeating, overindulging, just because you like something you're eating so much. Okay, now the reason why I say apple cider vinegar is because it all the food items that you're consuming has sugar in it, has glucose, and when it goes inside your body after a meal, there is a blood sugar spike. Apple cider vinegar, if you consume it before you have your meal, it controls this blood sugar spike. It helps with insulin sensitivity, that is opposite of insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is a pretty known concept these days, but if you would like me to get into it and explain everything, why resistance happens or what it can lead to, you can let me know in the comments. I'll make a separate video on it. But what I'm trying to say with regards to apple cider vinegar is, it improves insulin sensitivity and controls blood sugar spikes, diabetes. And it also has the capacity to control cravings. Um, Apple cider vinegar contains bioactive compounds like polyphenols and flavonoids, are antioxidants, meaning it can also prevent um, damage in your body because of radical oxidative species, that is ROS, or free radicals, and also help you reduce inflammation in your body. Inflammation is the root cause for all your major lifestyle disorders. So apple cider vinegar is amazing if you want to have it before your meals. It's a very, very good choice. Highly recommended. Second thing I want you to do before you have your meal is pause, take 3 deep breaths. So what this does is, it's basically like meditation. Hardly takes a minute, and it convinces your body that what the food that you're about to eat is not stress eating. It reduces your cortisol levels, that is the stress hormone. I'll talk about it in the next slide. What it So taking these 3 deep breaths controls your cortisol levels. It reduces your stress and convinces your body that you're not stress eating. When you're not stress eating, you're not overeating, you're not sugar eating, and you're also not gaining excess weight. Sounds like a good idea. I mean, it's not something that is going to show you massive results instantly, but it's a good practice, and it's hardly anything. Okay, third point is add an appetizer. The actual role of an appetizer is to make you anticipate what's coming next, right? But here I want you to change the purpose of your appetizer. I want it to fill you up. I want it to be so nutritious that you are done when after you consume your appetizer. You don't want to eat too much after. What I'm trying to get to is include raw vegetables and nuts and seeds. That is basically stuff that is high fats, high fiber. It'll fill you up. It is going to be highly nutritious. So your body is going to absorb nutritious stuff first. What goes first gets absorbed the most. So um, it absorbs these highly nutritious food items first. And as I spoke about, said in my last video, eat eat slowly, take 20 minutes to have your food, because the more time you take, it gives your body that much time to absorb nutrients, and it convinces your body that you're full even though you're not actually full. So it's like a brain trick. But with appetizers, I want you to do the same thing. When you have your appetizers first and then you get to your main meal, your body gets more time to absorb the nutritious food first, right? So by the time you come to your actual meal, or you're like somewhat in the middle of the actual meal, your body thinks that, okay, I am full, I don't need to eat too much, right? So you won't consume too much of carbohydrates or unhealthy fats that is in the rest of the meal. Okay, so in your appetizers, you can include salads, you can include beans, you can include nuts and seeds, you can include dairy even. Okay, I want you to have this stuff before you have your actual meal. Okay, moving on. Stress management. Cortisol, your body's stress hormone. It is not all that bad. It has its necessary. Cortisol is not what I'm trying to get to, but cortisol is the stress hormone, meaning physical stress or mental stress, or if it is, let's say, infected, or let's say there's some kind of virus going on, so maybe you have a flu, any kind of stress on your body, your cortisol levels go up. Okay, and chronic stress, which comes with mental health, increase levels. Now, when it comes to infections, when it comes to diseases, when it comes to flus and stuff, you don't really have much control over it, except for the part where you take medications and stuff. But when it comes to chronic stress, when it comes to like mental health related stuff, that is when you can actually help yourself. I want you to indulge in physical activity. Physical activity is directly related to stress. So that it decreases, reduces your mental stress. And I also want you meditation or whatever helps you control or manage your stress. Okay. The reason why I say this is because when cortisol levels go up, your visceral fat goes up. What is visceral fat? Any idea? Okay, so with our genes and with our lifestyle, we make our bodies vulnerable to abdominal fat storage. And this abdominal fat, the fat that gets deposited in your stomach, in your chest region, it gets attached to your major organs like your lung, your liver, your pancreas. And this fat is called visceral fat, the fat on your organs. And this fat is what causes conditions like diabetes or heart diseases or non alcoholic fatty liver. And these diseases cause different problems like kidney problems, or maybe eye problems, or neuropathy, things like that. So what I'm trying to get to is the first thing that leads to these problems is abdominal fat storage, which is caused by high cortisol levels. At least it is one of the reasons. Okay, apart from your lifestyle and stuff like that. And high cortisol levels can be managed with stress management. Okay. Um, Abdominal fat storage can is also due to thin fat phenotype. That is, in South Asians and in East Asians, there is a high susceptibility of us getting our excess fat deposited in our stomach, in our abdominal area. That is what I'm saying, basically. Rest of our body is thin, let's say our arms are thin, our legs are thin, you will notice that the stomach region is usually fat and protruding, right? We don't want that. One, it's ugly. Second, it's unhealthy. Okay. And it can be worsened, this abdominal fat problem that is starting because of your high cortisol levels, can be worsened if your lifestyle factors, your diet, your physical activity, your sleep cycle, and your stress, these four lifestyle factors can make your whole fat deposition situation worse. Okay. And one more thing cortisol does is emotional or stress eating. So that again leads to excess consumption of calories. Okay. I get that this is not really an uncommon advice when it comes to weight loss, but stress management is something that I think should be on top of our heads. This is probably like one of the first things that you should do if you. Moving on. Beyond number 8, realize and alter mindset. I have noticed this in so many people. I'm a working professional. I have with so many different kinds of people, and a lot of them have this mindset that they're not going to have food later on, when if they, let's say they're going out, box of food with them, or maybe have extra food before leaving. This is called food scarcity mindset. This is um, developed over generations or because of how your surroundings are. But I want you to realize, if you have this food scarcity mindset, I want you to convince yourself that you have a food abundance. What I mean by food abundance is, convince yourself that you're going to have food when you're hungry. You're going to have food after 4 hours. You're going out, but you are going to have your lunch. You're going to have your dinner. You don't have to overeat before you leave just because you're scared that you're going to be hungry. Food abundance mindset means eating out of hunger, eating out of schedule, not because of cravings. Now, how will you realize that you have this problem? Ask yourself two questions. How many hours has it been since you last ate? And if it has been anything less than 4 hours, let's say it's been like 2 hours, don't eat it. Don't eat that extra food because you don't need it. That's just extra calories. You're convinced that if maybe I'll have food now, then maybe when I'm out somewhere, or if maybe I'm studying, I'm going to be busy, I might not get the chance to eat. You will find the chance to eat when you're hungry. I know this is a very uncommon advice, but it's something I see in so many people. It's not even funny. Ask yourself, if it's been 4 hours, have it about anything. Have as much as you want. Okay, maybe not as much as you want, but you get what I'm saying. Next is, if let's say you're hungry and you're craving a certain kind of food. Let's say you want to have a burger, some patty that you enjoy, or maybe a donut. If you're craving something and you feel that you want to have this because you're hungry, ask yourself, if I eat raw veggies, if I maybe have a carrot, if I maybe have a cucumber, am I going to satisfy this hunger that I'm feeling now? If the answer is yes, then you're actually hungry. You can have your food and have good food, okay? But if you think, no, I really just want to have that donut, if I just want to have that specific juice, for example, then you're eating out of cravings, and that is food scarcity mindset. Okay. Ask yourself these two questions. If you think you're on the same page with me, if I what I'm saying, it makes sense to you, make the necessary changes. Okay. And one more mindset that I want to talk to you about. If, let's say, you're starting with a diet, if you're maybe starting with intermittent fasting, okay, and you're going out one day and you are unable to follow it, for example, um, and then it just breaks all of the motivation that you had over, like, let's say, the past 2 weeks. You're like, okay, I broke my fast, I'm not doing what I was supposed to, there's no point in doing this anymore, maybe I'll just start it another time again. Right now that it's already imperfect, I don't want to continue it. This is perfectionist mindset. You want to achieve it the way you have it planned in your head. But let me tell you something. Life is unpredictable. You don't know how things are going to end up sometime. Okay? Convince yourself that even if it is not perfect, even if it is not going the way you want it to, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. We are just still going to continue because we have a journey mindset. Our point, our aim is to consistently do what we are planning, not perfectly do what we are planning. Okay. And lastly, try to enjoy or build habits that are sustainable. Enjoy your new habits. If, let's say, you're introducing a before meal routine, try to enjoy it. If you're not enjoying it, you're only going to do it for so long, and at one point you're just going to give it up. It makes sense, right? Build sustainable habits. Okay. Next, beyond, add a speed bump. This is my personal favorite. I love speed bumps. Not on the road, but in my diet. Cravings are sometimes inevitable. We don't know when we are going to a certain thing, right? Maybe today I am convinced of this very strict diet, and tomorrow I just want to have one piece of chocolate. You get that feeling. It is normal and it is okay. But what I mean by a speed bump is, give in to your cravings, but before and after you give in to your cravings, do something that you would normally want to do or increase your frequency of. For example, if you aim to have extra liter of water daily, okay, but you have a chocolate craving, punish yourself, give yourself this penalty. Now, because I want to give into this craving, I will drink this extra liter of water before or after, like half or half, or before I indulge in this craving. It, what I'm saying is, go back to middle school and punish yourself for not completing your homework. As simple as that. You can also go for a walk if you want to have, let's say, give me an example. Maybe you want to have a toffee, a candy, okay, and let's say one toffee is, let's say, 100 calories, and 100 calories for you specifically requires a 10-minute walk, for example. So have that candy, have that 100 kilocalories, and go for a 10-minute walk. Burn out what you're consuming that you're not supposed to consume. It's as simple as that. This is not only going to help you um, manage your weight, but it also helps with self esteem. What could be better than that? Beyond number 10, this is the last point of my second part of my weight loss series. Beyond number 10 is avoid artificial sweeteners. Give me a few examples of artificial sweeteners. Saccharin, sucralose, stevia. You might think these are not even high calories. Let's say aspartame or sucralose. They are almost negligible calories. They only consume as much calorie as their median is, because they are like 100 or 200 times sweeter than sugar. You only need it like one drop, or a very small amount. And to make that usable, it is made into a tablet form, which contains something that has like 20 or 30 calories, so it's barely anything. um, when compared to normal sugar, and or if you're, let's say, consuming stevia is, it comes in the form of drops, barely any calories. Now you might be confused why these artificial sugars. I'm asking you to avoid them. I am asking you to avoid artificial sugars because of a lot of reasons, honestly. I'll explain one by one. First reason is, your brain links sweetness with calories. Okay, that is how your body is processed. So if you're consuming something that is sweet, your body expects energy out of it, right? So if you're having something that has, let's say, aspartame in it, and aspartame, barely any calories, no calories. If you're having it in, let's say, a watery drink, barely any calories. And because your body is consuming something that is, it wants to get energy out of it. It activates your system in your body. It wants to produce dopamine. It wants to make you happy, but it can't do that because the system is activated without any actual reward. So it confuses your brain, and um, dopamine reward pathway is activated without any actual reward. This leads to disrupted hormones. Disrupted hormones such as ghrelin and leptin. I've talked about ghrelin and leptin like 100 times, but I'll just explain how it is linked with this whole confusion situation. It increases ghrelin, that is, it tries to compensate for the expected calories. That is, it makes you want to eat actual sugar, real sugar, because it wants reward. Now that the system is activated, it wants to get the reward, and to compensate for that, it increases your ghrelin and reduces leptin sensitivity. That is, with increased ghrelin, it makes you hungry, and especially hungry for sugary foods. Second, it decreases leptin sensitivity. That is, your satiety hormone, the hormone that makes you feel like that now that you've eaten, now you're um, happy and you don't need to eat anymore. That hormone sensitivity in your body gets reduced. That means your body becomes unable to feel satiated. It becomes unable to feel full. And over a long time, over an extended period of artificial sweetener consumption, your ghrelin and leptin are permanently disrupted. That's one thing. Second, it because your brain thinks that you're consuming something sweet, there is sugar coming in your body, correct? So it um, triggers an insulin response. Now, um, I want to make sure that you don't misunderstand what I'm saying. Not all artificial sweeteners trigger an insulin response. Only two do that. One is aspartame, and second is saccharin. Only aspartame and saccharin trigger an insulin response. That means without sugars to absorb, your body gets confused with like the whole insulin sensitivity situation, and this leads to insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is when your body is unable to use the insulin that is produced, that is unable to use the energy that you're consuming. Now, if you're consuming energy and your body is unable to use it, you're gaining weight. and therefore it also leads to poor metabolism because you need the sugar for your entire metabolism procedure. Um, okay. And because your brain is convinced that you're um, consuming calories, but you're not actually consuming calories, and because it's trying to compensate for that by making you eat actual calories, you also tend to overindulge in food, leading to overeating and overconsumption of calories and excess calories. You know what that ends up as. Okay, I had a few more points. Let me just look at my flashcards. Mm, okay. It also triggers cravings. That is, okay, it's actually on the screen. Artificial sweeteners things because they also alter your taste perception. Okay, that is because your body gets used to this sweetness after a overconsumption of artificial sweeteners. Your body gets used to this flavor and it rejects normal food. And by food, I mean normal carbohydrates and normal energy giving foods. And because it rejects it, you end up putting on that energy that you're consuming in as fat. You end up storing it as fat. And it puts your body in a whole stress situation, leading to increased levels of cortisol. Okay, I guess that today. If you have any questions, is the right time to ask me. I am guessing you don't have. So if you want to get in touch with me, here's my website, my Instagram, and my email address. If you're comfortable, give me a call and we can have a chat. If you have any questions, get in touch with me. If you have any ideas, any topics that you want me to cover, if you want me to talk about insulin sensitivity, or if you want me to get into artificial sweeteners, because there are so many, I could not possibly cover all of them in this webinar. If you want me to talk just about artificial sweeteners, let me know. Send me an email and I'll do that. Thank you very much. Here's scan this QR for a voucher at Diet Design and Doma Design, and I will see you here. Thank you. Have a good day.